Hello and welcome to another trip report. This time from Barcelona Sants to Bilbao on an Alvia train. These trains can go both on the high-speed lines and on conventional railway lines. Until Zaragoza, this train will use the high-speed line and have speeds up to 250 km per hour. And from there on, this train will use the conventional railway line. And that's quite slow actually. What I do in this video, I show you the railway station of Barcelona Sants where I'm at right now, show you the trains and show you some views from the train. For now, let's roll the intro. Even though Spain is being known for being a sunny country, at the moment I was here, it was rather rainy. First, let's find out what we can find around the railway station of Barcelona Sants. This is the main railway station. Around here you find lots of bus stops and taxi stands. Something else you find here are several bike sharing programs. For example, this one over here with fixed parking spots, and I also noticed Donkey Republic. I'm a great fan of Donkey Republic, I use it a lot. Taxi stands can be found at several spots around this railway station as well. Personally, I wouldn't say that Barcelona Sants is a pretty railway station at all. Barcelona Sants has become the most important transport hub in the city of Barcelona, being the center for the Rodalies de Catalunya, including the Barcelona suburban railway services and regional services, as well as the main intercity station for national and international destinations. One downside is that the Rodalies de Catalunya, these are the local trains, are not listed in the international timetable, while these trains do provide several very good international connections to France. I covered this in another video, and apart from that, these trains do call at many very touristical towns along the coast. So therefore I think it would be great if these trains will be added in the HAVA's timetable, what is the standard for international train traveling. The same thing counts by the way for the ferry, what is a narrow gauge railway line in the north of Spain, and the cercanías, these are the commuter trains you'll find in many bigger Spanish towns. My train ticket also allowed me to use both the cercanías, the ferry and the suburban Rodalies trains. Even though this is being mentioned as cercanías at the tickets, it's basically the same, although in Catalonia they just call it Rodalies, different from the rest of Spain. For the Rodalies you'll find lots of vending machines over here, and I also purchased one ticket because I traveled from here to La Tour de Carol, what is at the French-Spanish border. Well, actually this trip report I did not start it in Barcelona but in Zaragoza. However, I also filmed something of the railway station in Barcelona for another trip report, so this is why I make it and create it as a trip report from Barcelona to Bilbao via Zaragoza. In Spain you will find different track gauges. The conventional railway lines in Spain have been built on broader gauge Iberian tracks and the high-speed lines on standard gauge tracks, just like in the rest of Europe. The tracks 7 to 14 are for the Iberian gauge tracks, so these are not the high-speed lines at Barcelona railway station. This means these are mainly commuter trains that depart from here, and you will find some occasional long-distance trains. Information about departing trains is totally separate at the displays here from the high-speed lanes. For the information desks, I don't know if this is totally separate or not. If you know this, let me know in the comments. Throughout the station you'll find lots of maps about what facilities can be found where, so directions are given relatively easy. If you take a train that will depart from the high-speed tracks, you have to go through security first, and this is something you can find here at the right. Departures and arrivals for the high-speed lines are strictly separated. I arrived here with the Avant train here on the right, that actually came from San Sebastian. These are more or less the same train types as I will have to Bilbao, but there were some differences, and I liked the train to San Sebastian much more than the train to Bilbao. Between the platforms and the upper part of the railway station, because the platforms and the tracks are all underground, you will find escalators and elevators. There are not a whole lot of stairs here. And if you go through security for the long distance trains, You won't find a lot of facilities. There's a place for coffee, but that's basically it. Over here you can see, by the way, the entrance for the high-speed lines, so for the tracks 1 to 6. For the rest, I think this railway station is rather simple to explain. Or simple, you will find an awful lot of shops over here. However, one thing I kind of missed was a small supermarket. That would have been very nice if that was here. However, you will find many shops, places where you can buy food, both where you can have a sit, but also for takeaway. Of course, there were also lots of places for information about trains and some vending machines. However, for long distance trains I strongly recommend you to buy your ticket in advance. First of all, this is cheaper, and second of all tickets do come including a seat reservation, so if a train is full, well, you cannot buy train tickets anymore. Something else you'll find in the main hall is entrance to the metro of Barcelona. That's very well integrated within this railway station. Even though I'm traveling second class, there is also a first class lounge available over here, but I forgot to put it on camera. It's not being advertised as first class lounge, but as Sala Club. Throughout the railway station you'll find many departure and arrival screens. When Spain started to build its railway system, they decided to use broader Iberian gauge tracks. These are not the same as in the rest of Europe, so connecting trains between France and Spain, you always had to change trains or the wheels needed to be changed. However, the high-speed railway network in Spain is on standard gauge tracks, and this is also connected to France. Apart from that, Spain has a very impressive high-speed railway network. Per capita, this is the most dense high-speed railway network in the world. It's not even close to what China has, who has most high-speed lines in terms of distance in the world. But they're also way bigger and have a way bigger population. The blue lines are the high-speed lines, the red lines are the Iberian gauge conventional railway lines, and the green lines, these are narrow gauge railway lines. Spain also has quite an impressive network of narrow gauge railway lines in the north of Spain. Because different track gauges, and I'm mainly talking about the Iberian and the standard gauge tracks, so not the narrow gauge railway lines, there are also some challenges. Because if you travel totally on the conventional railway lines from Barcelona to Bilbao, it's a long and slow journey. However, there are facilities at several points in the country where the wheels of the tracks can be changed. Of course, this doesn't count for all trains, but this does count for the Alvia trains, and today I'll be traveling on an Alvia train as well. The top speed on the Barcelona to Zaragoza section is 250 km per hour, what's not the fastest high-speed train on that route, by the way, and between Zaragoza and Bilbao it's 160 km per hour. Although I experienced the section between Zaragoza and Bilbao rather slow. I also did a trip report on an Alvia train from San Sebastian to Barcelona, and over there the speed on the conventional railway lines was much faster. About half of the distance between Barcelona and Bilbao will be on the high-speed line. But this is only about 1/4 to 1/3 of the total travel time. The other half takes at least twice as long. The section from Castellón to Bilbao is really slow. However, it's also quite a scenic route. For now, it's time to show you the train. I took this train from Zaragoza though, like I mentioned before. Tickets do always come including a seat reservation. Carriage numbers and the train number, stops along the way, can be found at the side of the train. You won't find information about what facilities can be found where at the side, because tickets do come including a seat reservation anyway. At the moment you're entering the train, it has been clearly marked what seat numbers can be found into what direction. Second class comes in a 2x2 configuration, so 2 seats on both sides of the aisle. Typical for Spanish long-distance trains, most seats are in driving direction. At the end of the aisles you will find some seats that do face each other. In that case, there's a table, you can fold this out to make it slightly bigger. Integrated within these tables you find a garbage can, And at the end of each compartment, LED screens will host basic route information and the carriage number. Seats throughout the train, both in first and second class, will be used to display movies along the way. Within all seats you will find an onboard entertainment system, what you can use if you plug in a 3.5mm plug-in for audio. This can be provided within the trains as well. For luggage, of course, you find the overhead luggage racks, and at the beginning and the end of most compartments there is also some extra space for luggage. The seats that do come in an airline style or long distance bus composition do have a seat in the table in front of you. You find an entertainment system between the seats, there's a small magazine rack, a footrest. You can recline the seats pretty well, but it's pretty comfortable. It might look tighter than it is over here because I'm quite tall. Reading lights are integrated within the luggage racks, and this is also where you find the seat numbers. All windows do have a sunscreen and coat hangers can be found directly next to the windows. For the last and the first row, the windows are a bit smaller. This is because all the other seats can be turned around, and depending what the direction of the train is, this might be the spot where you find the seats that do face each other with a table in between. Both in second class, what is being called Turista, and first class, what's being called Preferente, you will find the seat numbers right below the luggage rack. I traveled in first class during this journey. It was only €3 more expensive than the second class, and I think that's worth it for a 4.5-hour journey. The first class, or Preferente, is coming in a 1x2 configuration. You find a steady fold-out table in the seat in front of you, a magazine rack, a small garbage can, and a food rest. Just like in the second class or Turista, most seats do come in the same composition as in an airline or long-distance bus, and at one side you will find seats that do face each other. A trolley service will come by every now and then. This is both in the first and in the second class. A dining car is available. It's quite affordable, but the menu selection is not that great. This is really a place where you go to pick up orders. There are some standing places over here, but that's not a whole lot. This is not a place where you can have a nice sit, bite and a drink. No train tour is complete without doing a toilet review. And these are the bigger disabled toilets. You can also turn them into a nursery space for babies, as you can see over here. And there's an extra support bar right next to the toilet. For the rest, nothing really special. I think you have an impression of how these trains look like. There's no Wi-Fi available, and one thing I was missing on this route was power plugs. On the route from San Sebastian to Barcelona, I traveled on exactly the same train types, and over there I had power plugs. However, if you look really well, you will find some power plugs over here within these trains. Somehow my overall experience on the route from San Sebastian to Barcelona is much better than on this route. I don't say I don't like these trains, however, things like having power plugs feels to me like a basic necessity for such a long distance. Before I'll show you some views from the train, if you're interested in other trip reports, of course you can find them on this channel. Another thing you find in the description of this video on YouTube is a link to a map, and on this map you find all trip reports I did. The lines do indicate the routes, and the train and ferry icons do indicate the railway station and ferry terminal reviews. Of course, there will be more lines added to this, so at the moment you click on it, it's probably updated. For now, I'll show you some views from the train. The views won't be from Barcelona to Bilbao, but from Zaragoza to Bilbao. If you're interested in the views from the train between the section of Barcelona and Zaragoza, you can check out the video I've made on the route from San Sebastian to Barcelona, or on the route from Madrid to Barcelona at the section Zaragoza-Barcelona. Welcome to Bilbao in Basque Country. I have to say these trains are nice, they're not stunning. What I missed was a power plug, and especially, well, for longer distances. I mean, I had full power banks with me, so it was not a problem for me at all. Wi-Fi would have been nice as well, although most of the time Wi-Fi is depending on the coverage of mobile networks anyway, so I don't think that will make a big difference. In some spots the coverage was not that good, I have to say. But the views, especially the last part, are really stunning. Anyway, from here on I will continue with Euskotren to San Sebastian or Donostia in Basque. I'll make another trip report on that. One of my very first trip reports was also on the Euskotren from Donostia to Hendaye in France. And that's a great international connection. Pops up somewhere in the screen right now. In that video I also show you the railway station of Bilbao, because you will find 3 railway systems that come together here. Well, basically 4. The Cercanías, the commuter rail network of Bilbao, the long distance trains, what I just came from, the Renfe, what is a narrow gauge network that goes into the direction of Santander and well, all the way to Galicia. And then you'll find the Euskotren. The Euskotren, Cercanías and the Renfe do not pop up in the international timetable. And for the Cercanías and the Renfe, you can also use Interrail if you're traveling with Interrail. You don't need a reservation for that. Tell you a little bit more about that in the other video. For now, once again, I hope you liked it or this has been a helpful video to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more train related videos, subscribe to my channel and see you on my next video.